Hello, folks, and welcome to the ElectricGeek podcast YouTube channel. Whether you're listening along or you're watching the video podcast, thanks very much for hitting us up. Today, it's something of a first. I've got an awesome guest on in the form of Jamie, to my right as you look at it. He's from the awesome clothing brand LastExitToNowhere. I wear a lot of Last Exit tees. There'd be something wrong if Jamie wasn't. And bands that you probably see on the channel. So if you wonder where I got them from, it's from Jamie and the guys over at Last Exit. So Jamie, just tell us a bit about yourself, mate, and obviously you can introduce people who are uninitiated to what Last Exit's all about.
Well, thank you for having me on, first of all. Well, it's good to be here. So LastExitToNowhere.com is where you can find us. We are a collective of artists and designers who are obsessed by film and a little bit of TV. We love all things cult cinema, and we love exploring the design of cult cinema and the background of your favorite movies to find little details and big details that we can bring to you as all kinds of homage and merchandise, mostly t-shirts. We do sweatshirts as well and hoodies. As you said, we've got some wristbands and we've got some mugs as well. Seeing as I'm doing it, but yeah, basically we love films and we love the design of films and we love finding those elements of design that we think are cool and bringing them to everyone to wear and share, and in a kind of subtle way, we hope, rather than kind of like giving a t-shirt that says Big Trouble in Little China. We'll give you a t-shirt that says, Burton's Trucking on it. So those in the know are in the know. There we are.
I think you've absolutely nailed it. I think that was a good description of the brand, even if it did get a little bit QVC there with all the different products that we're going about. I'm not being paid, by the way, folks, to have Jamie on. I just love the brand, and I know that Jamie is not shy from coming on and doing the odd live stream over on your guys' like socials. So
Yeah.
you should probably talk about that. What kind of attracted me to having you on and approaching you guys, because I know that yourself, Jamie, and Mike to an extent as well, even although you're saying he's a bit camera shy, but you are always the names on the posts. So
Yeah.
you have an awesome like following. It's not just a clothing brand. It's almost became a cult in itself. And I like a cult. That maybe sounds a bit sinister. It's not a cult, folks. It's a cult in a good way, if it's a cult at all. But it's got you've created or you've assembled like-minded people who into this amazing kind of it's a Facebook community, isn't it? But you've got obviously Insta and various different socials.
Facebook. There's a Facebook group which is the collective, and then we have our main Facebook presence, and then we're on X, Twitter, Instagram, and so on. But yeah, the collective is a public group that we formed, and I think we formed it because of the sense of community that we had from the main Facebook page, where people were passionate about what they were seeing and what we were saying, and then we try and listen to what they're saying as well, and it's a great place for us to get ideas, but it's also a good place to listen about product and about what people like about the products and what they don't. And yeah, so we kind of form the collective where people could have even more of a say and post what they want about movies and TV, and sometimes comics, sometimes a little bit of music as well, but we try and keep it on track. But it's something where we try and go forward with kindness as well, and try and talk about looking after each other, and just sharing the stuff that we like. Sometimes you hit a few bumps in the road when it comes to putting pictures up about movies and not saying what the movie is, but that's a whole thing we can talk about.
Oh God, that's another video in itself about the collective.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of it.
I have to admit, I am very much a lurker on. I've been on that group for, I don't know how long have you had it? Like, it must be 10 years or something. I've been on there. And I don't tend to. I'm not one for posting things. I'm a bit of a lurker who likes to comment and interact with other people's. But I don't tend to actually instigate conversation starter. But it's a great group, and really knowledgeable people on there. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's one of the bugbears. Sometimes people don't know if it's a show thing, but they like to say, "Oh, this film's awesome," and it's quite obscure, but then they don't actually tell people what it is. But anyway, that's another thing.
yeah, yeah,
But you
yeah.
see,
It's nice.
sorry, you were gonna.
It's it's a place where you can find out about stuff that you've never, movies that you've never heard of, and try and push your favorite film and see if somebody else is out there who likes it. And occasionally, if somebody said, I can't remember what this movie is, it's got this in it as well, so it's all,
Yeah, you
yeah.
definitely get a bit of that. But you're right. Like there is, it's a great sense of community, and I do think yourself, like there is that kind of kindness going forward. Because I remember back during lockdown, COVID, when it was a shit time for everyone. And I remember yourself taking to it. I think that might be the first time I actually seen you, Jamie, like in the flesh, kind of thing. It was. I think you did a few like kind of watch alongs and stuff, which were
Mm.
really because we were all stuck in, and it was just a good idea. It was a genuinely nice kind of thing to do, and I kind of tuned in for them whenever you would do them. Um, I just thought that was cool, and that's kind of like a typical example of like what that kind of community is all about. And I think that's what makes the brand endearing. That's what makes it endearing to me is that there is that kind of sense of community, and when you're out. Last, like I've said this off air. We've had a little chat off air, folks, but there's a kind of like there's a lot of imitators of Last Exit. There's a lot of t-shirts. There's a lot of people trying to copy what Last Exit do, but I think you guys do have a kind of quite unique style and stuff. You can tell a Last Exit T over a wannabe. But when you see someone else with that t-shirt on, it's kind of like that kind of silent. It's like that moment at the end of The Dark Knight Rises where Bruce Wayne and Michael Caine share the knowing nod to each other.
Oh,
that's That's pretty much how it feels like when you see when you're wearing a Last Exit tee at a Comic Con or something like that. Well, maybe not Comic Con because they'll be everywhere. But I've been to like I've been to a local one, and I stay in Ayr in Scotland, and there was like one other guy there. He had the Tyrell t-shirt on, and I think I had. What did I have on? Did I have my Blade Runner 2049 one on? And we just shared that knowing little
yeah.
like Michael Caine and Bruce Wayne and Alfred look at each other. You wouldn't get that many on a t-shirt, because there's not that kind of identity and sense of community around. I don't think anyway. So that's what's endeared me to it. But I'm interested to know, was that a byproduct then? Like, I'm
I
assuming you
think,
were trying to make money out of t-shirts,
yeah, I
obviously. But
mean,
then, did that become was that a
I
happy accident? Or
think so. I think the thing that comes through, and I hope the thing that comes through is that we try and put heart and quality into everything. So that includes the design, that includes the t-shirts that we source, definitely the customer service. It's really important for us that people feel listened to and they can come to us if there's an issue with it, and we'll try and sort it out. And I think there's an ethic behind it all, behind all the people who work for the company as well, of just being nice and being kind. Um, and yeah, I think as well, the obscurity is, it's not that obscure. It generates that moment you speak about, and when you see somebody and you do that little thing where you kind of measure each other up, and not in a bad way, and you're kind of like, is that a Last Exit he's got on? And then and we've had people say like, oh, I saw this guy at whatever this gig, and he was wearing a like a Wayland Yutani, and I didn't get a chance to say, if that was you, then all right, mate.
yeah,
And then it can happen as well. And I've bumped into people in the street, which has been lovely. And you can sort of, and then sort of try and show off a bit. Yeah, I actually work for him. And then and then I can give you a little card as well if I do spot people in the wild as well. We've got these little cards that we can give them now to say they've been spotted.
brilliant.
But
And the wild, I like that. And the
yeah,
wild.
yeah, and just to foster a sense of community. It's lovely. It wasn't that what we set out to do. We set out to get some great t-shirts out there,
Yeah.
and then I mean, it's the people that make the collective, and it's the people who support you who bring that. And I'm just glad that they enjoy it, and it's a nice thing. If you're going to have a byproduct from a business, then a sense of community is a hell of a thing to have. It's better than
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
No, it's awesome, and I'm glad I got a chance to we got a chance to talk about the community. So folks, of course, as always, the relevant links will be in the description. So if for some reason you've slept on Last Exit until now, then of course you'll find the links to the website in the video description. Make sure you get yourself on there and check out the awesome products. You'll start to see where you'll start to see all the t-shirts that I wear. Basically, oh, that's the one he's got. I've seen him wearing it in that video. And you can copy my style if you like, or you can choose your own favorites. But so you probably, if you've checked out my channel at all in the run up to this, you probably know that RoboCop's a massive movie of mine, as it is for many others. And while I've got the ear of someone who actually works there, where is the TJ Laser T-shirt? Why does it not exist yet?
Deep up. Oh, I like it. I like it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's a logo in there, isn't there?
I've seen people talk about this on the collective. It's not just me. There's people mentioned it. In fact, I think I've even seen someone reply to it saying it was a good idea, and I thought it's got to be coming. It's got to be coming, but it's not. It's not quite good yet.
There's got to be a kind of. I'm kind of thinking synthwave colours. Yeah. All right. Leave that with me. I'll have a little dig around, and I'll suggest it to Mike and the design.
If no one else buys it, I'll buy it.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, because we had. Oh God, I'm going to lose geek points now. Is it Newcomb?
Yes. Did you have that? That's the infomercial. The family played Newcomb. Did you have Newcomb? Did you as a T-shirt?
Yeah, we had a Newcomb one a few years ago. I think that's retired now. We've done Delta City. See a few OCP ones. We've done OCP Police, OCP Ed 209. I was wearing Ed 209 yesterday, actually. But I mean, but yeah, TJ Laser, that's an unplumbed depth, and it's niche, and sometimes you can't.
It's quite niche.
Too niche, though. I think it's all right.
That was just when we're talking about RoboCop. That was like, so as I say, I've been buying t-shirts off you guys since I had hair when I started buying t-shirts off you guys. And I think I bought my first one on my mum and dad's old school dial-up PC, that like took up a whole room in your house. And it was after seeing, because I still do read, but I used to read Empire before we went all digital and stuff. I used to read Empire and Total Film, and you guys had adverts in there, and I remember it was the grids. I don't know if your adverts are still the same or if you still advertising Empire and stuff, but it was like the grid, and it was like all your designs of the t-shirts in a little grid.
Yeah,
and I was like, wow, like looking at it, like, yes, straight on the dial-up. I ordered myself, and it was the navy OCP t-shirt, which I wore to death, and a black Tyrell Corporation one with the orange, more human than human. I loved it. I loved it, and I was so proud of them, because none of my mates were really that kind of like proper geeky when it came. Well, I had a couple, but the guys that ran about with at the time they didn't have a clue what it even was. But I kind of liked it that way. And then occasionally they'd be like, "What is this you've got on your shirt?" And then I would take great delight in telling them. but that's why, just to kind of round off on what you were saying, that's certainly I'm testament to your kind of like mission statement, if you like, or what you were trying to achieve with the t-shirts, because I don't necessarily want to wear a t-shirt that says. I always use this as a bit of an example. It's like, loads of people love Predator the movie, right? But who's brave enough to wear a t-shirt that actually says Predator on it? Do you know what I mean? It's a wee bit. It's got that kind of negative double entendre there. Like, do you want to be wearing a t-shirt that says Predator, just in case someone is not initiated? And they're like, "What the hell?"
I caught up to you there.
yeah. Right? So, that's an extreme example, but I don't think it's very tasteful. I mean, I'm not having a go at anyone who does want to wear an on-the-nose t-shirt, of course. I'm not saying that you're uncool if you do, but for me personally, I wanted something that was like a bit of a nod and a wink, a little bit more subtle, like you say. And I can't get enough of it. I lap it up. That's I just like that. I like that. I think it's to my taste and many others, clearly.
There's a thing that I compare it to, and this is going to show my age now. But when I was a kid, used to get all the Corgi and Matchbox toys with the cars that came in a little cardboard box, and you'd get the A-Team, you'd get Starsky and Hutch, you'd get the Saint or what have you, and you'd get the car, and it'd be a perfect replica of the car, but it would have the logo of the show on the side of the car or the bonnet. and I just used to, I'd want it, but I get it and go, oh, like, because like the 18 don't drive around with the 18 on the side of the van, you know. I just used to be able to. Is there a way I can scratch that off and just make it actually look like it does in the show? Because that's what I want. Yeah, and that's what I think. That's what I think the shirts are. You know, we don't have to put the film logo on there. It's kind of going one step behind, and part of it, it's sometimes it was. Is it something that you would actually be able to wear in the universe of that show, or that series, or that film, or rather, I should say? You know, is it something not necessarily that's come like straight out of the wardrobe, but maybe you work in Detroit and you work for OCP, so you've got an OCP shirt that you wear at weekends. You know, that kind of.
You're an absolute OCP jobs worth who wears OCP shirts on your downtime.
When you're jogging.
Saying that in the world of Robocop, people are so self-obsessed and desperate to get on, they maybe would do that. Thinking it maybe win them brownie points with like Dick Jones and it.
Yeah,
The old
yeah, with like little logos on the socks as well.
Yeah, so I think I've I'd happily talk to you all day, but I appreciate it's maybe about Last Exit, but it's maybe a bit of a busman's holiday for you, so it's more of a novelty for me maybe than it is for you talking about it. But yeah, so I'm interested to know how old is the company now? Is it?
I think we've been going for. It must be possibly 16 years, maybe 17. I'm kind of grasping.
I was trying to work it out myself, like thinking because I reckon you couldn't have been around long when I started buying, and I reckon that was well over 10 years ago.
Yeah. So my
Uh,
involvement with the company definitely started around about 2012, I would say. So we're already looking at 14 years. That's been 14 years ago. So yeah,
obvious.
yeah. I think we're coming up for about definitely over 15 years, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so, like, how did what was the kind of what was your pull to it? Like you say, you've been worked there since 2012. Was it kind of
Hmm.
like how did you get involved yourself, Jamie? Obviously, you're into this stuff.
Yeah. So I was a
But,
fan. And like you, I saw the ad in Empire magazine and I just started a new job and I was going to celebrate and I thought, right, I'll get a couple of t-shirts and love the designs and I love the in-world factor that I've already spoken about. But the first two t-shirts I got were the Wayland Yutani Fury 161 Alien 3T because it was just a work of art. It was beautiful and I love that film so much. It just like the Korean text on it and all the Asian text. Apologies to anyone who can read the language and I've got it wrong. And then the Off-World Colonies t-shirt from Blade Runner in red. And I just saw those two and were like, yeah, I need those in my life. So I bought them. And then kind of, which led me to the website. And they ran and still do run a competition, photo competition, monthly one. So if you've got your on and you've bumped into somebody famous or you've taken it somewhere cool or what have you, send a t-shirt, send us your t-shirt. Yeah, you don't need it anymore. We'll recycle it for you. Send us a photograph of you in that t-shirt doing whatever it is. And then if it's cool, then you can win 3 t-shirts. And I entered and I won. And then I got a few more t-shirts. And so I did some more. And so I won the competition maybe 2 or 3 times. And that got me speaking to Mike. And I was talking to him about social media. And he said, "Well, perhaps you can help us out a little bit with some social media." So, and that's really where the ball got rolling. Yeah, and now we're firm friends, and here I am.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It also fits in just with what we're talking about, the kind of whole almost ethos and kind of like natural vibe of Last Exit, isn't it? How that's came about. But that's awesome. Like, so I know that you're into physical media,
Mm.
and this is what my channel is largely about. Certainly, in it so far, it's been a lot about physical media. I'm a big collector myself. I like viewing things in the kind of the highest quality. So
Mm.
I know that you are also that way inclined. So have you? Is it something that you still do, or are you? Or have
Um,
you kind of jumped ship to the dark world of streaming?
no, not at all. I'm first and foremost, I love stuff. I love things. I like something I can hold and handle and keep. And then I like collecting, and they are a dangerous combination. Um, and so um, I like to amass things, and I've got quite a sizable collection of physical media. Um, I would say it's mostly DVD. I still have a lot of love for DVD. Um, I think there's a lot of fun in collecting DVD because I like going to charity shops and console exchange and looking online. And you can get a lot for your money. You can go out of the house with a tenner and maybe come back with 20 discs. Um, there's possibly a lot of dips in quality or variation in quality, and you might not be talking about masterpieces, you might not be talking about collector's items, but you can go into a shop and there's a movie that you've always wanted to see and you've never seen, and it's 50p. And I mean, yeah, I've never seen The Big Sleep, the original, like 1940s. Yeah, not seen it, and went into a charity shop. There it was 50p, and it's a little slice of cinema history. It's a gap in my knowledge. It's a gap in my viewing, and you can sit down on like perfectly on a Sunday afternoon. What better time to watch a black and white movie and just let it wash over you? And it was amazing, and that cost me 50p, and now I've got it forever. Well, until it, the heat death of the universe, and that's yeah. But then there's the other part of it. There's the and you've been looking recently at the Titans Occult side of it, and today I ordered second sight. I got the Possessor um, set and the Green Room set as well. I couldn't pass those up. So yeah, I haven't, and yeah, I might get in hot water for this. I haven't made the the leap to 4K yet. I don't have a 4K player or TV, so that hasn't happened.
End
Um,
stream.
Yeah. Thanks. So yeah, that's more of a kind of out of a financial thing, I think, more than anything else, because of the outlay in terms of equipment. But that said, I don't really know how much that stuff costs now. It could be that there's, you can get a reasonable setup.
Yeah, I think if there was ever a time to jump to 4K, Jamie, to be honest, it probably is now. It's probably the most accessible it's been.
Hmm.
Um, well, that's a lot of what I do is like 4K reviews, which a lot of the time are comparing with existing Blu-ray
Yeah.
to help people like you kind of that have got this, just kind of what you're saying there. Is it worth my money spending? Because the kind of standard price for a new release, as you'll probably be aware, DVDs are tenner, Blu-ray's 15 quid, and your 4K is 25. So you're paying an extra £10. And when
Hmm.
the higher up the scale you go, resolution wise, format wise, the smaller the gains.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot of money. That extra £5 from £10 DVD to £15 Blu-ray, in my opinion, is it's not even an argument. It's worth it massively if you've got
Yeah.
the capability to play a Blu-ray. Though
Totally.
jump £10 from Blu-ray to 4K, is it? Is it quite? Is it? We're not talking about the same value there. I don't
Hmm.
think. So that's what my reviews were about, to just kind of give people the know
Yeah.
that like to come at it from a more technical side,
Hmm.
whether or not it's kind of worth their while. But yeah, so it's a totally understandable concern or consideration, that is it worth spending that extra money for something that might not be that much of a difference. And everybody perceives these things differently. I'm obviously right into it, and I get just as much kind of like enjoyment out of the restoration side of things and the picture quality, because I'm a bit of a
Yeah.
sado. So uh, that's a part of it for me, as much
Yeah.
as maybe not as much as, but uh, yeah, probably as kind of as much as it is actually enjoying the movie itself. Um, so yeah, so I'm an enthusiast, but if you're wanting to get into it, you could probably get a 4K player now for like £100, which I don't think's massively
It's not
expensive.
bad. Is it?
You get an LG or even second hand. Like I've got two 4K players
Yeah.
because, like I say, I'm a bit obsessed. uh, uh, and one was as a Panasonic, kind of entry level Panasonic, but I got it from Panasonic like outlet refurbished
Yep.
for £100, and I've not had an issue with it whatsoever. You wouldn't know it was refurbished, and it would be £200 new. So there's different kind of ways and means. Like you say, even got into did you call it console exchange?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I've never heard
yeah.
anyone. Is that what it actually stands for?
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
not know that. I did not
It's
know that.
this was a bit of conversation recently. Actually, we were talking to some friends because like somebody was saying about oh, what you mean sex? It's like what?
Yeah,
And it's like maybe kex, and then it kind of a whole thing. It's like and we're just like, oh, I'm not calling it sex. No, it's console exchange.
well, see, I didn't know. I probably would have been a prude and called it by its proper title as well if I'd known that was its proper title. But I refuse to call it sex, not because I'm like 1950s PC, but more just because I just think it's ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
if people that it's embarrassing if it's people, people that maybe don't know about it. So I
Yeah.
call it CEX. I spell it out CEX.
Right.
That's just how I do it. But yeah,
Mm.
anyway, you could go in there even and get like a kind of discounted player. And obviously you've got consoles now. So
Yeah.
I mean the PS5 is still pricey, but if you're a
Mm.
gamer, and that's important to you, you want to jump to the PS5, then that is a value pick in my opinion, because you're getting, when you strip down what's a PS5 now, £400, and
Mm.
like most new 4K players are about 200.
Excuse
So
me.
really you're getting the console for 200 and a player for
Yeah.
200, you can say. And they're perfectly good. The PS5 is a perfectly good 4K
And I
player. It doesn't.
imagine are they similar to a PS4 in as much as that they the beauty of the PS4 was that it update as well, so you were always getting like a decent software in terms of playing. Well, at least that's how it was when I had one.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I had the PS4. I'm on the PS5 now, but the PS4 was a good Blu-ray player, and so is the PS5 is a good 4K player. It doesn't have some of the Dolby features like Dolby Vision. You can have advanced HDR
Mm.
formats and stuff, but for the majority of people, that's not going to be a massive issue because it's predominantly a console, isn't it? At the end of the day, but yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's never been a better time to go on it. And like you say, physical media is going is totally it's going through a bit of a evolution, isn't it? It's no
yeah,
longer a kind of like mainstream thing where you can go into any household and they at least have a DVD player. It's getting to the stage where if you have a DVD player, it's people might kind of laugh a bit and go, "Still got one of those," that kind of thing. Unless you're someone who's into it. So it's becoming a collector's market. It's a niche market. But like you said, you can come in, you can come in, get a 4K player, or even just get a Blu-ray player. You can pick a Blu-ray
mm,
player up for like £50,
yeah,
and you can, like you say, you can pretty much go in there into CEX or Computer Exchange or whatever, eBay, charity shops, and you can get like excellent quality Blu-rays of cracking films, for like £1, 50
mm,
pence. But if you were like you or I, when Blu-ray first came out, you were spending £20 for the same Blu-ray,
yeah,
and the quality's still there. It's still better. It's catching up, but it's still better quality than streaming. So I think if you're starting now to collect, then it's a good time because you're getting Blu-rays for an absolute pittance, and you're
mm,
getting 4K collectors box sets that just didn't kind of exist
yeah,
10,
yeah,
15 years ago because they're
yeah,
pushing on the collectors now. So they're really second sight, like you said,
yeah.
Arrow, Titans of Cult,
Mm.
and all these other third party premium guys. So I actually don't think there's ever been a better time to get into it.
It's I can remember DVD coming out, and I can remember worrying about. Well, I've got this like reasonably obscure horror movie on VHS. I'm never going to get that again. No one's ever going to release that on. And like, I'm so glad that I'm wrong because they're all out there. There's all these little
Yeah,
boutique labels. You said like 88 films and 101, and someone somewhere loves your weird little late 70s, early 80s slasher movie that only 6 people have seen, and they'll find the negatives and they'll clean it up and they'll interview the sound man and here it is for you on a, you know, in a nice case. Like, oh, it's never been a better time.
Absolutely, and like you say, like you come back to like some of the. I'm not into that, but like you've got video nasties and stuff from the 80s that were like, you know, you would literally go to jail if you got found in possession of it. And now, like you say, you can just walk. You can walk into HMV and
Yeah,
buy it
on
in an Arrow Deluxe box set, you know, with all the associated material and with no fear of prosecution.
yeah,
Most importantly,
it's insane. Yeah, you can watch Cannibal
Holocaust.
Holocaust with or without the animal cruelty. I mean, okay, it's your choice. But yeah, I mean that's a nice feature. It's not a film I'd ever go back to in any event, but you know, at least you get a choice to avoid the worst part of it. But I mean that's nuts that you've got that choice. Because yeah, somebody somewhere loves this scuzzy little weird film. And I'm happy that they can see it any way they like.
Yeah, I think it's and it's becoming like with it being. I think with the advancement of like tech in general, like so like what we're doing right now, YouTube,
Mhm.
Insta, you know, TikTok, all these different ways that anyone can become a content creator effectively. There's never the community's never been as rife as it is. You know, like
Mm.
I would imagine, or I wasn't around in the 80s as such to be an adult going into video shops and buying I did have VHS, was about in the 80s, but not not as an adult, obviously. But now you can literally go on YouTube, Instagram, search for Blu-ray, search for that specific random movie that you like, and you'll find someone who's done a 20-minute video on it, you know,
Yeah,
and is accepting comments or doing a live stream on it, and you can.
yeah,
So there's that element as well, which to be honest, I was naive about because when I set up this channel, I knew there would obviously be people interested, or I wouldn't have bothered to set it up. But
yeah.
I can't believe just how many people are out there and how many, you know, people that are much more passionate than me about stuff as well. So I think that as well as an aspect not to be overlooked, just the fact that there's so many people that you can
Mm.
reach far and wide through the internet, through YouTube and
Yeah,
whatnot. So I think it's as much as there's so much doom and gloom just now. You know, if you go on YouTube, you'll also find the videos of like you know the DVDs, Blu-rays dead, physical media's dead, all that kind of stuff. I don't think that's correct, to be honest. I
no.
don't think that's particularly accurate.
I think it's in a I think it's in an odd little hinterland where um like maybe, and I'm probably wrong, but maybe you sort of mass market big movies. I mean, they're always going to sell, but again, you've got these little boutique labels, and there's a real market there. There's a real passion there, and there's a real interest there. In again, it's people like me who want it in their hands, who want to say, "I've got it," and yeah, and it's kind of maybe the first glimmers of that kind of cachet that vinyl has. Maybe, you know,
Mm,
this is a format that plays to the strengths of the fan, of the enthusiast, because we've got your we've got the isolated score, we've got a commentary from the writer, we've got it's all there, and that's a big pull for me, especially if you're talking like a big box set that's got like here it is, and you're never going to need anything else ever again, like the Dawn of the Dead box set that came out a
yeah,
couple of years with which
second
had
sight.
like five cuts in the movie. Um, and I'll hold my hand up and say Dawn of the Dead is not my favorite horror film of all time. It's an amazing horror film and I love it. But I saw that and it just like tweaked that little collector thing in my head. And I was like, I have to have it. I've got to have that on my
I
shelf.
know that feeling.
I can see the can cut at long last, even though I've maybe only really known about the can cut for about 5 years, and yeah, it's it's passion. It's that passion, be it the technical side of stuff, or be it the extra footage and the deleted scenes. It speaks to somebody, and it's like, here it is. Here's that thing you love in one sort of package that you can keep forever, and just you'll find out even more about the thing you love. Who can say no to that?
Yeah, Absolutely, and it's the kind of exclusivity of it as well, isn't it? Because they're usually, well, that's up for debate, but yeah, they're kind of marketed certainly as being limited edition. Although I have ordered limited edition things only to discover that another wave comes and they're not quite so
Yeah.
limited as they were initially advertised as. But yeah, it's just about the so the technical side. Just to kind of clarify for people though, as much as I like the 4K and the restoration side of things, it's not just on its own. There is kind of like there is a reasoning behind that for me, and it's because I love films, I love movies, I love the genres that I'm into, and it excites me to see them. Like I'm all about immersion. I like to be
Yeah.
absolutely immersed in the stuff that I love, and for me, the extra detail, the wider color gamut that HDR brings, all that kind of stuff. If that can make what's on screen more tangible and
Yep.
and bridge the gap between me as someone as a viewer and what let's say it's RoboCop, what Paul Verhoeven and Peter Weller actually seen, how it actually looked when they were filming all that stuff, and coupled with what you're talking about, like storyboards, commentary tracks, live Q&As from 10 years ago where little nuggets of information come out that otherwise you would never know, but you have to know if you're a fan. Like you want to know all that stuff. So yeah, that's kind of why it's not just because I like to count the pixels on the screen and get all
Yeah.
excited about it. It's
Oh yeah.
there's like a reason
Mm.
uh, behind it for me. So I thought I'd just use this opportunity to maybe explain that to some of my viewers as well, in case they
Yeah.
ever wonder why I'm so into it.
Please don't think I was thinking you were just like watching the equipment, if you like, because
Yeah.
yeah, no, yeah, no,
But it's a blessing and a curse though, because sometimes I do get a bit like that. Sometimes I get, you know, I get a wee bit obsessive and I have to like with settings, and my wife gets annoyed sometimes because she'll be like, "We're trying to watch the film and I'm still tinkering about with like the TV settings just to make sure it's perfect for like the environment that night or whatever." So it can get a wee bit in the way of just enjoying a film sometimes, but yeah. So what have you? So I'm keen to see what you've got there because you've went and got things that you've been buying, but I don't know what they are, folks. So it's going to be news to me as well. So what have you? Well, let's start off with what your favorite film is. So I'm assuming you're going to
favorite
have your
film.
favorite movie there.
So, well, my favorite film of all time, which I don't actually have a copy with me, is
Is that is what?
Rear
Sorry,
Window. Rear Window by
Rear
Alfred
Window.
Hitchcock.
All right, Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, awesome.
So, as a kid, I mean, I love Star Wars. I love sci-fi. I love science fiction. Possibly a little bit to the disappointment of my dad, who loves westerns, who loves historical movies and war movies. And what I used to go and visit my dad. My parents separated, and every Tuesday night on BBC Two or Thursday night, I can't remember exactly what it was. There was a classic sci-fi movie. So it'd be something like This Island Earth or Forbidden Planet, then something along those lines. And we would watch those together, and it was really cool thing to do. My dad sort of saying he remembers them, when he was a kid. And this season came to an end, and then it was like film noir and thrillers, and I was like, oh, I don't want to watch that. And one of them was Rear Window, and he said, just watch this film. And I must have seen it when I was 8 or 9, and it absolutely blew me away. Um, the story, the whole idea that it was more or less set in one room. Just in case anybody's not seen Rear Window, it's from 1956, I think. I'm going to get my ass kicked if I forget that wrong.
I
Gene,
have a second screen here.
it's got this is the curse of being live on the internet. Jimmy Stewart plays a photographer
Yep.
who's got a broken leg, and he's stuck in his apartment, and all he can do is look out the window, and he thinks he sees a murder. And then it's about how he tries to prove this murder's happened. He sends his girlfriend out, who's played by Grace Kelly, not Gene Kelly. That would be a different movie for sure.
That's
And
what it would be if it was in 2024 because they'd have to have
yeah,
it'd have to be some same sex in there.
yeah. But it was this set. Hitchcock built an entire apartment building, and it just blew my child's brain that they'd done that, and it was amazing. It captured me, and then that kind of led the way into other movies, and from there on, it was basically really got into horror, and then horror opened the door again into other films, and so that was that. So Rear Window is my all-time favorite movie, which kind of surprises myself, because you think I would think it would be Star Wars. There you go. Yeah,
That's
next.
cool. Rear Window's a great film. I mean, I don't think I've ever met anyone who's said Rear Window is their favourite. So no, it's pretty cool. Have you seen the remake? I'm just looking at it on. It was 1954, by the way.
54
Just
years.
because I've got IMDb here.
Thank you.
But in 1998, it was remade. If you remember.
Yeah, with Christopher Reeve.
Yes, Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
Post accident. I've not seen.
Yeah,
Have you seen it?
I've seen bits of it. I'm not going to shit on it. I'm not going to say that you shouldn't watch it.
Get shot Superman anyway.
Yeah. I don't have a great deal of beef with remakes anyway, but for me, possibly the interest in that film is this is Christopher Reeve acting after he's had his accident.
Yes, there is something kind of like morally ambiguous about it, isn't there?
Why shouldn't he? Fine. In some ways, it's a perfect role for him to play, and it's updated. But at the same time, personally, I think that I would be watching more of a kind of out of a kind of misplaced interest.
Yeah, almost like a kind of. I don't. It sounds terrible, but like almost a kind of sympathetic watch. Would you say? Would you like a?
Yeah,
it's not. I don't mean that. But it's kind of like
I know what you mean. There's a kind of almost like an ulterior motive behind the reason to watch the film.
Yeah, and it might get in the way of the film because it's so impossible not to see Christopher Reeve as Superman, and then to see him, how he ended up. It's difficult to kind of separate yourself from that. Whereas when you're watching the original one, there's nothing. There's no attachment other than all right. We know that Jimmy Stewart wasn't in a wheelchair. Well, I suppose that he's not playing a disabled person as well. That's the thing. He's a broken leg, isn't it? Is he not a race driver or something?
He's a photographer. Yeah, but he's on a racetrack and then he gets hit by
he's on a racetrack. Yeah. That's what it is. But yeah, no, it's an interesting one. I kind of want to watch it now, the '98 one, after like speaking about it, just to kind of
that's the way these things go, isn't it? It's it just kind of want actually just try and put preconceptions aside and just give it a go and see if it's a decent film. I think it got pretty well received. I think.
Yeah, well, let's have a wee look and just see what its rating was.
Maybe one day.
How did you feel? So you talked there about remakes. How do you feel about remakes in general? Because I always think that's quite an interesting thing to talk about.
Some
people are kind of like massively against it, and they absolutely take up arms about the idea of their favourites being remade.
Yeah,
are you one of those? Are you kind of liberal?
No, not. My feeling is, and here we go with a massive can of worms. 2016 Ghostbusters came out, and a lot of people didn't like that film. A lot of people didn't like it because they didn't think it was funny, which is absolutely fine. A lot of people didn't like it because it was for women. Whatever. Unfortunately, the two things kind of combine, and it's difficult to pick it apart.
Yeah.
But my bottom line was, I had a great time with that movie because I took my kids to see it and they loved it. So that was a big plus for me. It's like that commode and mayo thing about the situation you're in when you see a movie. And I saw it with my kids who just thought it was hilarious. So that helped a lot. Also, there was nobody who came to my house with, like a legal affidavit to tell me to hand over my copy of the original Ghostbusters. That's it now. It's wiped from history. You can't have that. You have to have this one, and that's only it. It's just like, if you don't like it, then that's fine. Don't watch it, or don't watch it again. It's the original's still there. It's not gone anywhere. I mean, maybe there's an argument now in the age of streaming that people can go back and alter things, and what if they do take it away? Or I mean,
that's not going to happen, was it? No,
it's not going to happen. But no, and then the other side of it is like, maybe you're going to miss out on a decent movie. Maybe there's it's a remake, and people are just going to like shut it down from the off without seeing even a still or a frame from the trailer or the trailer itself. You know, Roadhouse. Like, I'll watch
What do you
it.
think? Have you seen the
Fine.
trailer for
I
Roadhouse?
haven't. I haven't seen it. No, so I
Do
can't.
you watch trailers? Are you one for watching trailers, or are you
I
one
do.
that likes to
Yeah,
just
I'm
go in
not.
blind?
I'm sort of never really been able to have that amount of self control. I'm kind of like right on the cusp of like, tell me everything about the film. I want to know. I'm so excited. But yeah, I mean, I think it's bad form to shit on any movie before it's been released, especially if you haven't seen the trailer. I mean, okay, I'm not gonna rush to see Madame Web,
No,
and I wasn't. You know,
I mean
it's,
Dakota Johnson is quite overtly ripping it to shreds in interviews. Like she's down. She's kind of almost like distancing herself from it, like slagging it almost to an extent. If you should
oh,
Google it, so
look,
people are kind of commending her because they're kind of like, right, you know, you're in a shit film, and you're not doing the party line of like trying to find something positive to talk about and all that. You're just kind of coming out and saying it kind of for what she's not coming out and saying this film shit. Don't go and see it, but she's not saying that.
yeah,
If you know what I mean, and she seems to it's working great for her PR anyway.
well, that's good.
Um,
Yeah,
the way that she's promoting it, not
yeah.
necessarily the film itself, but
I mean, I'll watch it. I'll definitely watch it, and I would imagine that I'll find stuff in it that I like, and I would even go so far as to say it'll probably entertain me. I will put my hand on my heart and hold my hand up and say that I have quite a low entertainment threshold. There are films that I like that other people absolutely hate. I'm often kind of ridiculed for it, but yeah, I just like give it a chance. And you know, if it comes out and you watch it and you don't like it, then fine. You know, I mean, it's not a remake, but it's the prequel to The Thing. Um, all right, let's put aside the fact that the producers couldn't get on board the practical effects and insisted that they were smothered with CGI, which also smothered the film a bit. That's a decent little film. It's all right.
yeah, I
It's
liked
got
it.
a lot. Go on.
I've not seen it in a long time. I've got it because I've got the 4K Universal box set.
Hmm.
I didn't actually realize until I got it that they included the 2011
Nice.
prequel in there. But I remember I watched that round about 2011, having already seen the thing and being a fan of it, and I was like, that was good. It was enjoyable. It was a nice little kind of expansion of the lore as such.
Yeah.
But like you say, it wasn't as though my copy of the thing evaporated like in the cupboard, and I was like, "Oh, where's it gone?" Like, no, I didn't like it that much. Uh,
Yeah.
so I don't see the problem. And some people were like disgusted at that in that set that it was even in the set because they felt it was like a kind of whole like a U2 album on your iPod. Do you remember that scandal? Like it was one of those ones where it was like we didn't ask for your album. But so some people weren't happy about that like they'd put it in
Offend.
because they're like, no, I want the thing. I just want the thing.
Yeah.
2011 prequel shit. Don't want it anywhere near my box set. Why have you put it in there? But I thought it was awesome that they'd included it.
Yeah.
Saves me having to buy it, and it
Yeah.
doesn't take up any space because it's in the box set.
People are weird, man. They really are. I mean, all right, okay. I mean, it does a lot of it's got a lot of heavy lifting to do. It's it's got a lot of living up to do, and it was a solid, entertaining little film. And it's a shame we didn't get those really cool practical effects that are on like YouTube and stuff. But to be angry that it's in the box,
But
all right, you live your life your way.
the, the only thing I will say about it being in the box is that I keep bloody forgetting I've got it because
Yeah.
I actually keep meaning to watch it again, but because it's in the box,
Mm,
whenever I'm in the mood that I don't know what to watch, I'm looking for inspiration. I don't see the spine,
yeah,
so I
yeah,
keep forgetting I've got it until I end up in this situation like where I happen to be talking to someone about it, and then I'm like, oh, I need to watch that, and then it's just a never-ending cycle because I'll forget again, and it won't get watched. But yeah, I liked it, and obviously you've got the Terminator apparently is getting remade, and Highlander's getting a reboot. So
yeah.
I don't know if you've
I
heard about
mean,
that. What your thoughts are on those two?
so Highlander, I always remember. Again, I'm going to get so shot down for this. I always remember when the Fellowship of the Ring first came out on DVD. If you pre-ordered it in HMV, you got a copy of Highlander on DVD free with it. And I always thought it was like
Why?
buying.
Why?
I
That's a
always thought it was
strange
like
calculation.
buying a Rolex and getting a swatch with it. Highlander is a fun little film. It's mental. It's 80s. It's you got a French guy playing a Scotch guy. You got a Scotch guy playing
A Spanish Egyptian.
Spanish Egyptian guy who speaks Japanese, and like fucking run with it. It's like, yeah, it's so 80s. But
Although
if there,
sorry, I was saying.
sorry, if there's a film that's ripe for a remake, it's that one. Again, like, you know, it's never going anywhere. You've got the Queen score. It's all going to be there. It's going to be fine. But that could be quite cool, couldn't it? Like a really
Yeah.
good remake of Highlander. I think so.
I think out of the two of those, like, you're right that there's room for improvement with Highlander. Again, I don't want anyone to shoot me down. I've done a video on Highlander, by the way, like people know my love for it. But yeah, Highlander, there's a kind of like, it's not, it has aged well, but like the practical effects and stuff, you know, are showing their age, shall we say, and it's quite stylistic. So it's got the Queen score and all that. So it has dated itself by having, you know, time-stamped songs in it, if you like, so pop music in it and stuff. It's not as perfect a movie as the likes of the Terminator is. So I think that, yeah, Highlander's right for a where it just needs modernised,
Yeah.
and that might be enough. Whereas with the Terminator, it has aged very well.
Yep.
And it's like a massively iconic IP that is loved pretty much by everyone the world over. So I'm not saying don't remake the Terminator, but I think it's a more difficult job. And I think when you're remaking something that's absolutely loved, you have to swing from the fences. I think I don't play it safe. Don't think you can just modernize it. I think you have to like go in a bold direction with it, which might not work. But if it does work, it'll be a worthy attempt, and it might even generate its own new fan base.
Yeah, I think the way forward with a Terminator film is back to basics. Like, it's a reset and make it like the original one, which was basically a slasher movie. People forget that the original one is a lot of like a high horror quotient to it. It's got a high horror side to it. I say make it smaller, make it about that thing that can't stop, and it's after this girl, and just make it grungy and a little bit gory. Somebody said a while ago, and I don't know who it was, but they're a fucking genius. You want to get the guy who made It Follows make a Terminator movie.
I was just waiting to chime in with like I was just about to mention It Follows, but you're right. Like if he and they're very similar actually, because It Follows is like a kind of unexplained supernatural force that won't stop.
Yeah.
But so is the Terminator. You know, it's like that's kind of all right. It's more of a there's more of a kind of understanding like of that. It can be explained, albeit it's like total sci-fi high concept, but you know we understand that it's a robot that's robots have taken over. They've created a cyborg and they've sent him back in time. It Follows is kind of like we don't know what this is. It's just there's a set of loose rules that we've learned, but the rest is pretty terrifying and don't get caught by it, kind of thing. But I only watched It Follows recently, like absolutely brilliant. You know, really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the sequel. But yeah, I think you're right. I think if it was me, not that I've got any filmmaking skills whatsoever, but if it was me, I would go full on horror. I would go back to basics, like you say, and lean heavily into the horror roots. And maybe make it even more horror-like than what the kind of original was. I think, like, because I do kind of a kind of live stream that I participate in, and we actually talked about this a few weeks ago. How like, you know, A24 have became a proper powerhouse studio that are really kind of leading change in Hollywood. And you know, if A24 were about in the 80s, they would have made the Terminator.
Yeah.
if you know what I mean. So I think it should have like A24 should be getting involved. I think, and you know, maybe teaming up with the director of It Follows and doing something like that with it.
Yeah, make it creepy. Take all the humor out of it. Don't you don't need I'll be back, or if you do put I'll be back, just put it in some like nasty fucking way. I don't know. but yeah, just grunge it right up and make it scary. And
I
then you've
don't
got
think they should. I don't think they should use like a copy of Arnie either. I think they need
no,
like if they want to be really bold, move away from that. Don't
yeah,
even have him muscly. Like, don't
oh,
try to copy. Make him robot like in some other way, but it doesn't
yeah,
have to be an Olympic bodybuilder type build.
I-
Like, come up with something else.
yeah,
Because I
just
think,
separate it, just like a
yeah,
literal reboot. It's the starting from scratch. Maybe switch up all the Skynet stuff. Maybe make there's room for a twist or a surprise there. I don't know what it would be, but you're expecting Cyberdyne systems or something, and just do something different.
something else happens. Yeah.
But yeah, like the original idea, wasn't it? Was Lance Henriksen was going to play him. He was going to be
Yeah.
scrawny. Yeah,
So why
yeah,
not kind of try that and kind of honor that to an extent? Because I could like, all right, I'm not trying to say that Lance Hendricks would have been better with him. It's like total. The rest is history. Arnie is the Terminator, and it was fantastic and all that. But
mm,
I do think like in another universe where you're not aware of an Arnie Terminator, that it would like a Henriksen would have been intimidating
yep,
in his own way,
yeah,
in that role.
yeah,
But yeah, we went off on a bit of a tangent there. I was enjoying
yeah.
that.
That's
getting,
good.
getting setting the world of sequels to rights. But funnily enough, just to finish off on that, Henry Cavill, I read recently, has kind of echoed what we've just said there about the Highlander. So he's kind of said when it comes to remakes, you're better to swing for the fences than to play it safe.
Yeah,
But he basically kind of live by the sword, die by the sword. Either try and do something different at the risk of failing, but if it lands, you'll have something that was worth everyone's while.
totally.
So that's positive, but I don't know how much input he'll have. I know he took a lot. I know he was like the kind of he's really passionate about
Yeah,
everything he's been in, isn't he? Like
yeah. And the
The Witcher,
Warhouse.
Warhammer,
Yeah.
and all that. So maybe we'll have more of an influence, or maybe I don't know. Maybe they'll be wary of him because of how much of a pain he was in The Witcher and stuff. So we'll see. But are you into
Maybe.
any of that stuff, like Warhammer or anything? Or
No, not really.
really?
Fantasy is not a big go-to for me. I'm more sci-fi than fantasy. I don't hate it. I don't dislike it or anything like that. It's just not something that really calls to me. Um, Also, Warhammer. I think if I'd got into that when I was a teenager, then I'd be even more skint now. And if I tried to get into it now, then it would just like, for one thing, it's vast. I've got a friend who knows the lore inside out. He doesn't even play the game. He just likes it. He likes the lore, so he knows all of that. And that took him ages to accumulate all of that knowledge. So it's like one of those things. It's like when you're, if you're not into Star Trek, then that's a lot to understand before you start watching Star Trek. Maybe there's
Yeah,
like a whole huge lore and backstory and canon, and it's a little bit intimidating. But I like the look of it. I mean, these huge power armor guys. Yeah.
it might. Yeah, it might be like Warhammer's already a massive thing, but it almost feels a little bit underground to an extent, and it's probably got a lot of negative stereotypes around it. Like the type of people that play get an unfair
Mm,
kind of what should we say?
social stigma.
Kind of social stigma. Yeah, you
Yeah.
said it better than I could. So maybe like with Henry Cavill being involved and bringing it to the mainstream,
Mm,
it'll change people's perception of it. Much the way that like the MCU and all that has with comic books to an extent, because there would have been a time when it wasn't cool, to as an adult to like Iron Man and Captain America and all that. Then it went full circle where if you didn't like that stuff, people were like, "What?
yeah.
You don't watch the Marvel films?"
Yeah.
Uh, probably people saying that were the same people that would slag someone who would buy the comic.
Yeah.
Ironically, 10 years ago. But yeah, I think I'll watch it. It's not something There's actually a centre. There's a games workshop in my town centre that I often go by the window and see the guys playing and stuff. But no, it's a good time for all that. I think just in general, it's more inclusive now. People's hobbies and
It's fascinating. Mike,
yeah,
I went up to visit Mike. I think maybe a couple of years ago, and we went to Games Workshop HQ. Neither of us are fans. Neither of us play it, but you could you know, the talent that goes into painting these things, and it's even if you're not into it, it's breathtaking. That, you know, they're that small, but they're like beautifully multicolored, shaded, and you know, and then going into the where because we were there the day of or the weekend of a big tournament, so we went into one of the playing rooms and they'd set up all the landscapes, and it was just stunning. It was absolutely stunning. So, you know, what a lot of fun.
That sounds, sounds cool. It sounds like a cool,
Yeah.
like kind of little day trip you had there.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, we were wandering around like, you know, what's this then? I don't know. And just like, I knew enough to like, don't pick it up, don't touch it, because there's like a measurement going on, and you know, let's just stand back and watch everything being carefully moved. I used to play a war game called X-Wing Miniatures, which was a Star Wars thing with like
Right.
little ships. So it was kind of like, you know, parity to it, and that was great fun. Like, you know,
It's
combat.
funny. It's funny when you say about lore and stuff, because like obviously you've got gaming's massive now, and like you've got like these kind of fantasy games like you know you probably heard of them, like
Baldur's
Elden
Gate.
Ring and all that, Baldur's
Yeah,
Gate, yeah, all these things, and there's actual videos. Uh, yeah, so talking about lore, and you know, you're right in what you're saying, that it can. See, I'm someone who's intimidated by that. Like sometimes I'd love to start. Yeah, I'm quite into gaming and stuff, and
mm,
you know, like Elden Ring, Starfield, these new games that have came out that have like that you could just lose yourself in. Like
yeah,
that intimidates me, because I don't like to miss out on stuff. So I'm like, I don't, as much as it might be fantastic, I don't want to dedicate my whole life to one thing. But it's became
yeah,
so popular that you're having like there's YouTube channels now that are dedicated just to doing like hour-long commentaries on the lore of one character from these games, and they're getting hundreds of thousands of views. You know, so it's amazing how involved people can get and how much they want from. They're not just content playing, because these people, I'm assuming, who watch these lore videos play, but then
yeah.
when they're not playing, they're watching deep dives into the lore. So
Like, how much of that of your time is that consuming? I mean, you know, if you're having fun, then that's fine. That's fair play
yeah,
to you. But yeah, yeah, time to do anything. There's so much stuff. There's so much content. There's so much, and everybody says got an opinion. They're all saying, "Oh, you need to be watching this. You need to be. This is such a great series." And like,
uh
there's not enough hours in the day.
you can't do it all. You can't. You just
Yeah,
can't do it all. And for me, like my life's busy just now with having young kids and stuff. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
do, I do, I do well. I get through a lot, but I sacrifice sleep. You know, like I'll stay up too late and get up early, and
yeah,
I'd rather do that than miss out. So
yeah, yeah. Fear of missing out is a powerful motivator. It really, really is.
so so we started on the deep. We started on the your pickups, and then we drifted away. So show me your whales. What have you been adding
Right.
to the collection? Show me some
So
highlights.
most recent addition was the Screen box set.
Ah,
Um, I haven't seen any of the films past the third one. I saw all the originals in the cinema, and then for whatever reason, I think horror kind of it dips out a bit. I think when kids come along, your tastes change for a little while, and you
mm,
can't face horror films. It's quite a common thing, sort of factor. So I sort of moved away from horror, and it's been recent, past 10 years, 5 years maybe, that I've really been getting back into horror again. And there was a gap there. There was three movies that I haven't seen, and I remember really enjoying them. So I picked that up and I rinsed it in a weekend. Um, and I had fun with it. Yeah. Fourth one was my favorite, weirdly enough. So yeah, that's been a lot of fun. Two new ones are okay, a bit contrived, but I think again, you're in a situation where you're just like concentrating on one franchise and maybe watching it, you know, three movies in a day. Then
yeah, by the time you get to the end of that
yeah, is
marathon
that the ideal
session,
way to consume that?
aye,
You know? But that was great. So that's been my latest box set.
kind of addition. I like a streamlined box set. Like as much as I like the fancy ones, I quite like that you can just
That,
get all the films in like in the size of a Blu-ray.
that took me by surprise. That I
Yeah,
was kind of like I felt like a little bit of an old man. Like, you can do that? You can get all of them in there? I've been like picking up the recent ones now. They're going over to the thinner boxes as well. That's kind of a bit weird. And I'm like, but I'm getting less. But yeah, but that's a good thing because there's less plastic involved and like,
Yeah,
be a grown up. But it's a bit odd. You feel like you're buying less. So I
it
don't
does.
know.
It does. I don't think you're alone there in the physical media community. That does seem to be people don't like these new kind of stripped down skeletal
Mm,
boxes. But I get it. The way I see it is, if it means we can still, if this is what companies have to do to cut costs to
yeah,
continue to make it profitable and to to do their bit for the environment, then I'd rather
absolutely.
we
Yeah,
had that than not have them at all. So
yeah, totally. Yeah. And then you get the other side of it as well, which is like, how's it going to look on the shelf? Because it's like a different size to the. Because that I collect a lot of I'm absolutely passionate about Doctor Who, so I collect a lot of the Doctor Who collector's edition Blu-ray box sets, and there was a whole controversy over like the rebranding of the logo, and it's not going to look the same on the shelf, and they like had to like tell everyone it'd be all right, it's going to be the same logo, so it's not going to be nerds.
see, I've it's funny. Like so one of my closest mates, who's my kind of cinema movie pal in real life, not like someone on YouTube or that. Someone I've known for years is a massive Who fan, and he's trying, bless him, he's damnedest to get me in on it. I feel like he'll be see when he's watching this, he'll be loving hearing that you're massively into it. He knows it
uh,
inside out, like he knows it. He
yeah,
knows all the old stuff.
yeah,
And he just sent me actually. I'm not gonna read it out, but I'll tell you what he just sent me the other day. This massive tirade because he goes off speaking about it, and I'm like, and I can tell like when it passes him trying to win me over, and it
yep,
just and him just running being at a runaway train because like, well, I'm
yep,
getting to just talk about this, so I'm just
yep.
gonna keep going. And it's like 8 messages later, but he keeps telling me
Guilty.
to watch. He
Yeah,
keeps telling me
no,
to watch, and something to do the caves of Andrazani.
Kate
Is it?
Androzani. Yeah,
Yeah, he's pushing this heavily on me, saying that it's like he's always trying to find that one thing that will
yeah,
like he thinks will hook me, kind
yeah.
of thing. Because I
Wow,
watched, so that's what he's
you'll
pushing just now.
you'll never
Massive
think
big
about
paragraphs.
you'll never think about bats in the same way again, or milk. But there we go. I'll leave you to find that out. Yeah, no, I'm guilty as charged. I'm like that as well. Mike likes uh, Tom Baker, but that's
Right.
that's pretty much as far as. And I'm like, yeah, but in season 14, episode 24, yeah, I'm one of those. Sorry. Which, and I'll get this out of the way. My most recent steelbook collection, still wrapped, is the 60th
Oh, so,
anniversary.
yeah, I have watched those because
Yeah.
thanks to Chris, thanks for Chris got me watching those. And do you know what? I enjoyed them.
Mm,
Like I did. They're very slapsticky, kind of silly to what I'm used to. But
mm,
I get it. I get the camp. There's a unique camp Britishness to it.
yeah.
So I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch it going forward. I think, and I might go back, but it's good.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's another thing that I used to watch it with my dad, so it's got a thing there. And then I watched it with my kids, and my eldest especially is a massive fan along with me. So it's kind of our thing. So
Brilliant.
we'll sort of watch it together and stuff. But yeah, again, it's it's always good not to try and push stuff on people too much.
So who is your favourite Doctor then?
My favourite is Paul McGann, the eighth.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah,
The one that was like just a TV movie in the
yeah,
90s.
yeah.
Ah.
I think part of
I've
it
seen
is
that actually. Seen that when I can't remember it, but I watched that when it
it,
came out.
it wasn't
Yeah.
great. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. It's kind of like one of those things. Sometimes you watch it and you'll like really enjoy it, and then sometimes you watch it and go, "Oh, this was kind of American meddling and all of that, whatever." But yeah, I think part of it because he was only in it for a little while, and then also there was like a whole slew of audio stuff that he did, which really rounded his character out, and he felt like a secret doctor. There wasn't very many people who knew about him, and it was kind of
Mm.
cool that there's a whole load of adventures that people don't know about and companions and stuff. And anyway, if I keep on about that, then you'll just have to slope off and bring your friend in, and it'll be a whole other podcast. So
I'm trying to get him on actually, but I'm
Mhm.
like, mate, we can't do Doctor Who because it's just gonna. I don't know anything, So maybe down the line, you two can just come on and do your thing. I'll just edit it all.
What else have I got? Let's see. Box set that I'm watching at the moment. I've got the 50 Years of Planet of the Apes. That was a second-hand pickup. And I just realized that I hadn't seen the originals in such a long time. Like I was a kid when I saw the very first ones, and the second one especially scared me. I remember it being on BBC Two. And there's like a race of mutants and stuff.
What is the second one called?
Second one is Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Beneath the Planet Apes.
Yeah,
I've only seen the first one. I've maybe seen bits of the movies, but I've only sat down and purposefully watched like the original Charlton Heston one.
The new one coming out. I thought, right, okay, let's just. Sometimes it's fun to do a little bit of a retrospective. So I haven't been like on these like I was the Scream movies, which is probably a good idea. In actual fact, I was watching. I think it was Conquest. I'll get them mixed up just before we were talking. But that was a nice little pickup, and that was the second-hand one. The only problem with it is that the third movie was missing.
Where did you get it from?
It was a guy on a kind of stall at a collector's fair.
Right, okay.
So there's no way I can get a replacement. Well, I say that I went onto eBay and I got the third movie from Music Magpie. So I was really happy with that. And a friend astutely said to me, "Are you going to slip the disc into the disc?
Yeah.
Or are you going to keep it separately?" And I was like, "I've got to keep it separately because it's not, But it turned out it was a region A, and I'm not set up for region A. I'm not multi-region, which is another thing I need to sort myself out with. So it eluded me. Yeah.
I need to do that.
So yeah, but it turns out they're all on Disney Plus. So I know, streaming. But anyway,
means nothing. Your box set's much cooler, mate.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm going through at the moment. One of my favourite films I've got in multi-format is a little movie which I am absolutely evangelical about, which is Spring. This is a movie by two guys called Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, or is it Aaron Benson and Justin Moorhead? Oh, this is terrible.
I'll do the guy in the chair thing.
Moorhead and Benson is what they're known as anyway. They're a directing duo. They've kind of hit big time now because they were doing a lot for Disney. They did Moon Knight. They did the last season of Loki, and they're doing Daredevil. But before they came to that, they just made these kind of little homemade, odd sci-fi cosmic horror films. Oh, this is weird when you're doing that whole trying to move stuff and it's like not a mirror. But Spring,
Benson and Aaron Moorhead. Is that what you said? So you're right.
I said both. So I got the steelbook, which I think is an Italian steelbook, and this was just about collecting. I just wanted it because I love the film so much. I did have it on DVD as well, and there's a version by 101 Films, which is good. I don't really want to say too much about it.
I'll definitely watch it if you're speaking so highly of it.
It's in my top 3. I think it's possibly my third favorite film of all time. It's a genre bender. It's beautifully directed on a low budget. It's beautifully acted, and it takes you in places that you won't expect. It's one of those films that you want to tell people about because you want them to watch it, but at the same time, it's a film that takes you by surprise, so you don't want to give too much away. And this is really being kind of blunt and not very articulate about it. It's like, imagine H.P. Lovecraft made before sunset or before sunrise.
Right, okay. I'm getting that just off the cover.
Yeah, it's a weird little film, and it's such a cool little film, and I love it to death. And every time it's on TV, or on sort of terrestrial TV channels, I will always big it up in the socials. And any of the films that Moorhead and Benson do are articulate and strange and different and artistic, and they're just worth a watch. They are horror films, but not in the very sort of widely accepted or traditional sense. There's a little bit of unease and strangeness to them. There's also a kind of common thread that runs through them. There's a kind of, if you dig deep enough and pay enough attention, you can pick up the elements from the other films. They're in a shared universe. And yeah, we were lucky enough actually to make a T-shirt for a movie they came out called Endless. Well, I think The Endless rather. And we did a Arcadia Brewing T-shirt from that, it was lovely to have a little back and forth with them. They're really lovely guys. So that was like a proud moment. But yeah, can't recommend their stuff enough. It's odd and it's different.
Brilliant. That's a great recommendation, mate. Really good. I'm going to watch that.
Yeah, I've been intrigued to see what you make of it. I mean, and yeah, maybe it won't be for you, but that's, some people don't like it. But anyway, what else have I got? Let's see. Favorite box set of all time is the Arrow Phantasm box set. Funny enough, I was just thinking the other day, I like to keep my J cards on. I don't know. Are you? Do you like to get rid of them or leave them in the box, or?
Just depends. Like, it depends. See if they're just like basic. If it's a basic Amity and it doesn't have any kind of boxed. Was that one got a kind of boxed off? Is it a box or is it just a wraparound?
It's just a wrap. It's kind of wrap around. It's got stickers on it.
It just depends. Like if it's kind of card or plasticky, then I don't mind folding it up and putting it away. But yeah, so if it's like that, yeah, if I had that box set, I would keep it on.
Yeah, I
don't have a hard and fast rule for it.
I just feel like if you get rid of it, there's like an element that's been taken away. And I mean, I know everybody's got a different idea of design, and I but I kind of like the bump on the back, and it tells you what's in there. And yeah, that was I coveted that for a long time and picked it up at Comic-Con. And one of the reasons that I really wanted it is because it has a replica sphere in it. So I had.
I'm going to absolutely disgust you now and tell you that I've never seen a Phantasm film.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Not everybody's seen everything. They are a really acquired taste. Again, I like films that are kind of weird and surreal, and there's stuff in it which is like, what the fuck? Like, reality bends, and you can the extent that you could watch the film and go, no, that's lost me now. That's just like silly. But I can kind of dig that. I like it when, they're like, again, going to show my age. There used to be this thing back in the 70s called the Children's Film Foundation.
Right, okay.
Basically, it was a British organization that made very cheap films for children. And they would be kind of shown on like Saturday matinees in cinemas and stuff like that. They were really low budget, and they were kind of knockabout, and it was all kids on bikes having adventures. This is all before ET, and it was very rich. And it's got this kind of low budget thing, and Phantasm's kind of got that vibe, but American. So it's a curate's egg. It's a weird film, and then you've got like a pretty big budget sequel that was made in the 80s, which again feels weird because the director wasn't allowed to bring both of his cast members back, so he had to drop one guy and bring another guy back. And it did well enough to get a third movie on video, so they brought everyone back. And the original movie was like shot over weekends in the mid 70s. They shot so much footage that you get to the fourth movie, which is in the 90s, and they're using like deleted scenes from the original 70s movie. And you've got the same cast all the way through. So you've got this guy who's a kid in the first one. He's like 12 or 13. And then by the last movie, which was in 2016, he's like in his mid 50s. That's like really unusual.
There was one in 2016, was there?
Yeah, that's the last one. It's Phantasm.
I didn't realize that. I thought they were long finished.
Yeah,
You know,
no, they kind of, there's a fan base and they keep kind of pushing. And I mean, basically it's got a lower budget than the original movie had in the 70s, and that's like adjusted for inflation. So it was a labor of love. They went back to making it on weekends. The whole idea was they're going to put this thing out as webisodes, and then they just wrote scenes and just shot them just for a laugh. And they, at the cast houses, and it was the lowest of low budget. And eventually they had just enough stuff. They went, well, we can put a film out. Is it a great film? No. Is it?
it sounds dog shit, to be
It
honest.
was, and you'd be well within
You
your
got
rights to watch it and go, yeah, that was terrible. I would say fine, but having invested in 4 previous movies and seeing these people come back again, there's like
yeah.
a little fan thing that just makes you happy when you see it. Yeah, they're weird.
Again, I feel like you've maybe want to watch at least the first one just to kind of get a see. That's the thing. Like I'm not really into horror just because I'm a bit of a scaredy cat, basically. And but being in this kind of movie community now, I feel obliged almost to kind of at least just try more. I've never really tried, and I am. And there's that many good films like horror films that I haven't seen that I considered, like pillars of
Mm,
pillars of the kind of film history. Never mind just horror, the
yeah,
horror genre. So I owe it to myself to watch it, and I feel like I'm missing out on amazing pieces of cinema. But it's just that barrier of not wanting to be scared shitless
yeah.
for me. But I'm slowly chipping away at it.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I can't stand jumps. I don't like jump scare movies.
But you still do them. You still put yourself through it.
Kind of steer away from like the obvious ones like Insidious and
So I wouldn't be caught dead anywhere near that.
no,
The
no, I'm
seriousness
open
stuff.
to it. I'm like more. I'd be more happy to watch that at home, where I wouldn't be embarrassed where I throw an entire
Ah,
bucket of popcorn in the air, because they just get me. They really do. I did 31 days of horror for Halloween this year. So you're going to try and watch a horror film every day leading up to in October, and in the end, I managed. I think it was 46 or 47 movies. I did a few, and I really tried to steer into. So I watched Insidious, the first Insidious movie. Um, I can't remember exactly now, but it was stuff like that I normally don't go anywhere near. And it was fun. There was some stuff there that I was glad I watched. Some stuff was rubbish, but yeah, I know totally what you mean. You want to. I think because being somebody who loves sci-fi and action, maybe look out and see where there's crossover and the sci-fi and action with a bit of horror as well.
yeah.
That's a good in. Yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head to
Yeah,
recommend.
I think that's what I think that's what I need to do. Yeah, you're right because I think going too much the other because I didn't think about just going the other way and going right baptism of fire straight into
Yeah,
something that's renowned to be terrifying, and
yeah,
if you've done that, then everything else should be all right. But
yeah,
it's just it doesn't work for me. And it's funny you say about you're happy watching it at home, but not
yeah.
necessarily in the cinema. See, I think I'd be the other way because
Right.
it's like a public space. And it sounds ridiculous, but it's
Oh,
like I don't like the idea of like inviting it into my home and
yeah,
being alone watching it.
yep,
I'd rather
yeah.
actually sit and yeah, I would still shit myself with the massive screen and the but it's that sense of well,
And then you can leave the
community at
cinema.
least. Yeah, and I can leave. I can't leave my house exactly. Or
Yeah,
I can turn it off, but I'm still in the same place where I was
yeah,
scared
yeah,
shitless. So
yeah,
yeah, it's kind of funny. And I've got a pretty decent setup now. I've recently got a projector and speakers and stuff.
oh,
And my mate that I watch a lot of films with in here, he likes horror, and he's like, "You
mm,
are like this is a dream." Like I'd love to be in here and be immersed because it would be scarier because you've got sounds coming from all over the place. And I'm
yeah,
like, well, that's actually even more of a barrier for me because I don't want
yeah.
because of that. I don't want to listen to it like that and shit myself at something that happens like from a speaker behind me or overhead or something.
That's a
Uh,
lovely way to film. I did a podcast back last year, tail end of the summer, with the gents from After Horror, and they invited me on, and I picked the film, and we watched Upgrade,
All right,
which
I've
is
seen Upgrade. Yeah, it's
yeah,
brilliant.
which is sort of that's the kind of vibe you want for the new Terminator movie. Thinking about it, that kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
yeah, which was a nice halfway house between you got horror aspects in it and what have you. But we went to Paul's house to watch it. Hello, Paul, and he projected it. Oh man, that was glorious. That was such a nice way to see a film. I mean, it's you've got the best of everything. You've got that richness of the quality of the picture and a good sound system, but you're at home and you've got your pizza there and you've got your friends there. It was that was that's a good way to watch a film.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I've just a friend of mine actually who I've befriended through YouTube was big into projectors, and we started talking about it. And he was giving one away. Well, not giving it away, but he was looking to get rid of his older one.
Mm.
So I've basically bought it off him. In fact, you can just see it kicking out.
Just see the white there, yeah.
So that's it. It's a HD one, but yeah, it is a totally different. I mean, I've got a pretty high end OLED TV. It's
Mm.
great, but yeah, and the picture quality is fantastic on that. But there is something about just an image that's 100 inches. Like it trumps picture quality to an
Yeah.
extent when it's just the sheer immersiveness of it. But yeah, I'm fortunate enough to have that, and you're right, it is a great way to watch it. But I've also got Limitless. So this is the first year I've got.
All right.
Yeah, so I've been wanting to do it for a while, and I thought, you know what, this year I'm gonna get it. So that's been pretty good because I feel I'm seeing things in the cinema that I wouldn't normally, just
Mm.
because I'd maybe save my money for the blockbusters.
Yeah.
But I've seen a few things like Poor Things,
Hmm.
which is fantastic, by the way. If you like wacky, weird things, I think you'll enjoy. Have you seen Poor Things?
I haven't. No, I've heard nothing but good things from people who have seen it. So
I
yeah,
think you'll enjoy it. Given what you've said on here, getting a little feel for what you like, the weird and the wacky. I
yeah.
think you'll I think you'll find. I think you have a great time with Poor Things. Uh, Poor Things. Went to see Iron Claw, or the Iron Claw,
Mm.
and is that what else did I see? I've seen a few things, but anyway, they were the kind of I would never have went to see Poor Things at the cinema,
Yeah.
but because I can, so it's been great. So I'm kind of spoiled for choice. I can either go to the cinema, watch it on a cinema in here, or watch it on the telly. So I'm doing all right on the movie
Good.
front.
Yeah. We've never had the sort of access to a chain that's close enough to be able to do that. We've got an Everyman here, and it's lovely. It's a beautiful cinema, but it's very expensive. That said, um, it's a nice way to watch a film with a sofa and a beer and a popcorn. So yeah,
Is
but
that every man? See, I
yeah,
don't think we've not got them up there. Is that a kind of relaxed, kind of more adult type cinema, kind of boutique thing? Is it?
yeah, a little bit. It's so where I live, they've renovated an old stable block and turned it into a cinema, weirdly enough. So it's two screens, but they have a thing called Throwback Tuesday, or is it Throwback Thursday? Whatever. It's one of the T days. And it's like an old movie, and your ticket is about 16 quid, but you've got a lovely big sofa that you can sit on, and you get a beer and you get a popcorn in with the price. And
That's all
last
right.
one I saw was Saving Private Ryan, and it was fantastic. I hadn't seen that
Oh,
film since
brilliant.
so it was like 20 odd years since I'd seen it, and it was a really nice way to watch that film. So yeah, I think you just keep an eye out and see what's coming out, and they do stuff like that, like the original '89 Batman and um, Grease and Scarface and all sorts of kind of. There's a lot to choose from, and that's a
Modern classics.
yeah, yeah. I think that's a good way. I think that's a we're veering off into cinema, but I think that's a good thing that cinema should kind of get behind because people want to go and see those classic movies on the big screen.
Yeah,
I think. Anyway,
absolutely. Because especially these films that transcend generations,
mm.
where they just simply weren't either they weren't old enough or they weren't alive
Yeah,
when it was originally released. Because I've not all the horror confessions of what I haven't seen are coming out now. I haven't seen, believe it or not, the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, right? And I really want to see it, but it was being shown. I missed it, but it was being shown for the 50th anniversary at Odeon.
Yeah,
I just couldn't get child cover, child care, uh, or else I would have went. But that's a great opportunity because I thought, God, I've not seen this. I want to see it for ages, and I could see it for the first time in a proper cinema, uh,
that's
uh,
that's
which
been
would have been
insane.
awesome. So I think they need to do that more often. I've seen like RoboCop,
Yep.
Blade Runner, some of my favourites in the cinema over the years, and I think it's something they like. Given that cinemas are on their ass to an
Yeah.
extent, they should be leaning into
Yeah.
the bankables like that,
Yeah.
and I think they are to an extent. Certainly, Odeon's a massive chain, and they seem to be doing it.
Mm. Mm.
So I suppose that takes us nicely on, Jamie, to what you kind of excited about that's coming out. Have you got anything on the horizon you want to go and see, or a movie that's been released on physical media or something?
Um, 'Cause I'm very excited about getting those Second Sight box sets for Green Room
Oh yeah,
and Lesser. That I'm really looking forward to. I love a big chunky box set with art cards and a little
all the
book.
tat.
Yeah, yeah, all the tat. The art cards that are so neatly put together that being like an idiot, even though I spent this money, I'm like, I'm never going to take them out of that cardboard thing that's wrapped because they're neat and mustn't
They're
touch.
always. Do you not think they're always almost too tight in that black cardboard binding? I
Yeah.
always worry I'm going to give myself a paper cut because they're so razor sharp, and I'm always kind of scared to take them apart. But then I do unboxing, so I've kind of got to.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's it, isn't it? You got Um, yeah, I'm trying to think because I'm always having a look on the news sites and seeing what's coming out, and there is always stuff, and it just like my memory is so bad. I mean, there's the obvious ones. Deadpool, I'm really excited about. I love Marvel. Absolutely eat, sleep, and drink MCU. That's I'm happy, really happy and excited about that.
do you
Um,
have? Well, you've kind of answered the question, I suppose. But do you believe in Marvel fatigue and all that? Like that
I
kind
can,
of what tatty about is the
I
MCU
can,
going down the pan a bit? Is it Marvel fatigue or what?
I can to a degree. I think they've struggled because I can remember Endgame coming out, and Endgame was for me almost like a religious moment. Like 10 years, I can remember going to see Iron Man, going with my entire family, and we all loved it. And then we watched that last bit at the end, and like that's Samuel L. Jackson. I can't believe they've managed to actually get Samuel L. Jackson to be Nick Fury. There's no way this is ever going to come off. And then, like 12 years later, we're sat in the cinema and seeing Captain America pick up Thor's hammer was like an absolute religious moment. People are just going to be so sick of that, hearing that. Like, but it was incredible. But it was also like an incredible end. And my wife was like, "That was amazing. That was really amazing. I never want to see another Marvel movie again. That's it. The story's done."
Yeah,
And you've got all those big iconic characters, and they've done really well to try and be inclusive. And like Shang-Chi was a character that I didn't know very much about other than like some 70s reprints. And I think it's a brilliant idea to be um, concentrating on diversity. And people are going to say I'm woke. Yeah, I'm very woke. So yeah,
get over
and like a series about first generation Pakistani American girl who gets superpowers. Yeah, amazing. Um, but it's not those big iconic characters. It's hard, and it's a hard thing. Who nobody really knew very much about the Guardians of the Galaxy, but they made that work. Nobody really knew too much about the Eternals, but they couldn't quite make that work, even though
yeah,
that's one of my favorite movies. Um, because the Eternals always felt like a step apart from Marvel anyway, because they weren't supposed to be in the Marvel universe when they were created as comics characters. And that kind of feeling went into the film, and I liked it. It felt like it was right for me anyway. Um, yeah, it's tough, but I just think the X-Men are coming. The Fantastic Four are coming. We saw the cast announcements yesterday. Couldn't be
yeah,
happier with that. And I've got my theories about what Secret Wars is going to bring. Um, and I think that's going to be. I think they're all coming back. It's Secret Wars. I think
You think
Downey
all the
Senior,
legacy yeah.
yeah, they're all going to come back because it's going to be this kind of battle world thing, and you'll get them back for maybe a couple of movies, and then it will do what the most recent comic version of um, Secret Wars did, and just kind of give it a soft reset, and we'll just have like a one universe, and then maybe we'll have people who are recast. Maybe you'll have a new Iron Man, and maybe that'll be an uphill struggle, but possibilities are endless.
Do you
I
think it will
just,
keep? Do you think it will keep going? Like, like you talked about the westerns at the beginning, like your dad been into
yeah,
westerns. A lot of people compare the
mm,
superhero genre to westerns, and that they're having their kind of sunset moment now.
I
Certainly, the
want,
box office results would show that. However, like
yeah,
they're not good though. So it's like, you know, it's easy to say, oh well, they're not getting the box office returns anymore. But then the ones that haven't done well at the box office are shitty films though. So it's kind of like it's quite clear that Deadpool's going to come out. That's going to make an absolute silly amount of money at the box
mm,
office. So that's going to blow out that argument out of the water a little bit.
yeah,
But I do think, as it had its day, I kind of agree with you that like you're not going to get. I don't think that'll be topped Iron Man to Endgame
mm,
because it was the first kind of coming of that. There was excellent casting done. Nobody'd ever seen a connected universe like that.
mm,
Everybody got behind it. It was the big players.
hmm,
Yeah, there was some exceptions. Guardians of the Galaxy, nobody knew of, but you know, you had a big talent in James Gunn behind that and stuff.
yeah,
But for the most part, and how many films was that? 25 films to that point or something?
yeah,
26 films? Yeah, like with like one or two that were like people think are just okay, and
yeah,
pretty much everything else is considered good to awesome. You know, like it's an amazing achievement, and I don't care uh, how many Martin Scorsese's come out and say it's not filmmaking and all that. Yeah, maybe not as he knows it, maybe not as we knew it. However, that in itself is a massive historical event as far as
yes,
in cinema. That was a complete phenomenon what they did, whether you like comic book movies or not. So it is amazing, and I was one of those people that a bit like your wife, and that when Endgame, I didn't say that's it, I don't want to see one again, but I did kind of feel like I don't, you know, where can you go after that? So I thought this, and it has been a journey to that point. So maybe you
yeah,
just subconsciously want the break from it, but they didn't give us the break,
yeah,
and I think they're realizing the mistake now that they just rather than having a little break and letting the need to come back, the want
yeah.
come back, they just rammed Disney Plus down my throats and all these shows and stuff.
That's an excellent point. It's a really, really good point. Maybe they like that's Endgame, and then we'll see you in 2 or 3 years,
Yeah,
and people can get the first up for it again. Um, it's gotta implode, hasn't it? It's like you say, it's like westerns were everything from like the 30s to the 50s, early 60s.
even the 60s. Yeah,
Yeah, it can't. Nothing can keep going like that. As much as I want it to, because I love all those characters and I love those movies. And yeah, all right, I'm easily pleased, but it's everything runs out of steam eventually. So who can say? I'll go and see him though.
yeah. It's,
I'm-
it's only it's only the last few that I've got a little bit. Like I went to see the Marvels at the cinema again. My mate, who's the Whovian,
Mm,
he's just a slave to it. Even if he knows it's gonna be bad, he has to see it. So I went with him, and it was all right,
yeah,
but just all right. Like wasn't they're not the same. They're not, and I think that's the problem. Like with what you said is that like you're leading it. You're really trying to force these characters who have had some success in comic book form, but
mhm,
not anywhere near the success that the big hitters have had. So you've got to kind of expect it to at least mimic at the cinema the same reaction it had as a comic book,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
with the odd
yeah,
exception, Guardians of the Galaxy. Sometimes you'll get that big thing that it just seems to work on cinema more than it maybe did on the pages kind of thing. But
yeah. It's an odd one, isn't it? It's lightning in a bottle in some ways. It's just like I mean, I'm really excited about what James Gunn is going to do for DC. Um, I'm it weirdly. I mean, I love Marvel. I love the Marvel movies. Most of these comics here are DC comics. Um, so I mean, yeah. Every time Superman comes back to the big screen, there's a part of me which is just beyond excited. So yeah, be intrigued to see what happens there. But yeah, trying to think of anything else that's coming out. Alien Romulus. I like Fede. What's his name? Fede Alvarez. I'm probably murdering that.
Yes, the director of the Evil Dead reboot.
Yeah, which was
I've seen
that
that.
was fantastic.
That's gnarly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fair play to him. He did not hold the fucking horses on that one. That was good. Evil Dead Rise was good as well. But yeah, I just like I think he's a really capable director, and I'm not expecting like the next like it's going to be as good as Aliens, but I think it will be a solid movie. And we need something from that franchise. It's never going to go away. It makes too much money. We're always going to get Alien movies. But yeah, do different things with them. Like, did you ever see the 40th anniversary shorts that they put out on YouTube?
The 4th anniversary shorts of the.
So for Alien.
Oh no, I didn't see that. No.
So they just basically went to a whole like bunch of short movie makers and said, "We want you to make a 20-minute Alien movie. What's your idea?" And they sort of pitched it to him, gave him a little bit of budget. So you've got like somebody who's escaped on a shuttlecraft, but somebody's got like a chest burster inside them. How they're going to deal with that? And yeah, it was just like you give somebody the constraints of a small budget, and so necessity becomes the mother of invention, and you get these interesting ideas that come out of it. And I think maybe that was where they're sort of heading with this new Alien film. I hope so, because yeah, it deserves something good. Wasn't the biggest fan of Prometheus or Covenant. They've got their charms. Covenant's like a goofy haunted house Frankenstein movie. I can't talk about Prometheus. I'll get in trouble.
I watched Prometheus recently and quite enjoyed it. I'd seen it before, but I revisited it. And
yeah, it's
if you take it out of the, which is impossible, I know, but if you take it kind of out of the franchise and just view it as like a Ridley Scott sci-fi film, it's perfectly serviceable. Has its flaws, but it's enjoyable. It's got a kind of nice aesthetic. Yeah, I enjoyed it watching it again. I even quite like Covenant, but I like. I think I like Michael Fassbender. I think he's a big. If there's any positive from those two films, it's Fassbender. I think, and the ending's quite chilling.
Yeah,
kind of sad. The ending is really chilling to Covenant, and only Fassbender could have like sold it the way that he does in the movie.
You really want it to go on, don't you? You want a bit more, and also there was like a little nod to Blade Runner in there as well, which was quite cool.
Yeah, was that remind me of that? Was there a?
He pushes he ends up pushing like a nail through his hand.
Oh yeah,
and
that's right.
That's the spirit. He's just like that kind of Batty, line from Batty, which was like I was like, yes, I like a little bit,
Yeah, so yeah, June. I'm looking forward to June. That Civil War looks good as well. The A24 one. Have you seen the trailer for that?
That looks chilling. That last
Yeah.
line, Clement's like, who are you? We're Americans. Yeah, but what type? Like, or which kind? Is just like with what's going on over there at the moment. It's kind of it's a frightening prospect.
I've seen a few people comment on it saying that it's maybe a bit much for America just now. That film, it's like too in sync with what's actually happening that it might cause issues.
But then, like the way things are there at the moment, that they could end up sitting on that film for a long time. It might never come out.
Yeah, true. That's true.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Bushwick?
Yes, with Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
It's one of those films that's just came and gone and been don't hear about it anymore. But it was actually it's all kind of done as a phony one taker, isn't it?
Yeah.
Made like one take. It's quite enjoyable. It's good.
I love kind of 20 minutes from now, Civil War, everything's upset, kind of. So it's got that kind of vibe to it. I'm quite excited by that.
I think it'll be good. That Civil War. I'm quite excited for that. I didn't really know anything about it. It kind of snuck up on me, that one. Someone just mentioned it and watched the trailer, and now I'm kind of
Alex Garland as well. It's like you can't go wrong with Alex Garland. He's always got something interesting to say, or there's like I mean, Annihilation is beautiful and horrible all at once, but it's a stunning film.
I watched that as soon as it came out with a wife on
Mm,
Netflix, and yeah, it was one of those ones at the end. I wasn't really sure what I just watched, but
yep.
in a good way.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I'm not someone who always needs to know. I'm not one of these people that's like, why did you recommend me that film? It doesn't have a definitive ending. You know that kind of like,
Oh,
you know how you've got people that you maybe that you need to be aware of that you would never
yeah.
recommend to certain friends who maybe aren't
Yeah.
as like into movies. You have to recommend something that has a clear middle, beginning, middle, and end. Like you
Yeah.
can't give them something that they have to make
Yeah.
up their
It's like
own mind with, or else they feel like you've gave them a shit film kind of thing.
going back to Upgrade, and I won't spoil the ending, but as the film was kind of, I didn't know it was ending, and I was on the edge of my seat, and I was literally saying out loud to the room, like, "End there, end there, end there, yes." Like,
I need to watch it again. I can't like I seen it at the time. I've actually got it. I think it was like a one of these I used to have Sky movies. I think it was like I have one on us deal type thing.
right?
Here's
Yeah,
like and you could just it was a voucher and you could just go and pick what you wanted. And I'd heard good things about it. It just came out and I was
yeah,
like, right, I'll have that. So I've got it in my kind of
right.
Sky library, but I don't have it in physical. I keep meaning
Hmm.
to get it. I think it's a second sight, isn't it?
Yeah, there is. I've got it up on the shelf over there. I
Uh,
think it's
Blu-ray.
like which is a gorgeous. It's a really gorgeous box set with a nice book and posters and
Oh,
art
is it a
cards again.
box set? I didn't even. I thought I'd only got the basic Blu-ray treatment. I didn't
Oh,
know it had a box.
but yeah, there is a basic, but there was how available it is now is yeah, we're up. Do you want me to grab it?
Ah,
Shall I
why
get it?
not?
All
Why
right,
not?
I'll be cheeky.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, there we go.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's lovely. Yeah, this film blew me away. This is another one that's well up there. And again, if it's
it's cyberpunk, isn't it?
yeah, but like subtly so, it's they don't hit you over the head with it. So yeah, you got like a little book of essays and a poster as well. I think is there some art cards? No, I think it's just like a poster. I won't get it all out, but you get the idea. But yeah, it's a film that like you want a sequel to it, but you don't at the same time
Yeah.
because of that neat ending. Or the dance
See, I
around.
can't. I don't. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I can't really remember it now. I remember it has a bit of a kind of
It's bleak.
unexpected turn at the end, but I can't really
Yeah.
because it has been what 6 years since I watched it, or something, 5 years. Um, yeah, I might have to hunt that one down actually and see if I can add it to the collection. I do remember enjoying it, and it's
Yeah.
quite kind of ultra violent, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's
It's
done
like
in a weird way. I remember the choreography is pretty good because it is that way that he's not almost aware of it happening,
yeah,
and it's his reaction to it all as it happens because it's like yeah,
his expression, it's like from here up, he's kind of divorced from his own actions, which
yeah,
is acting on another level, I think. Like what's his name? Logan. Keep getting
Marshall
his
Green is it?
yeah.
Marshall Green.
Who was somebody who I never really sort of was on my radar or rated too much, but that film just made me really appreciate it because the work he put in, and again I like really went a deep dive into the commentary and the behind the scenes stuff and heard about what he was putting himself through, and he was in quite a bit of pain because he was kind of got himself sort of twisted up in the wheelchair to really look like he couldn't move and was concentrating and not being able to move and stuff like that. And then they would put like a little bit of CGI in there, so his breaths look more shallow. So like that
Ah,
attention to detail is really really good. Yeah, love that film.
awesome. Now you make that's another film I need to rewatch now. So have I got The Thing, Upgrade, Spring. I'm starting to get a bit of a shopping list here of films I need to watch or revisit. But we better kind of look to wrap it up.
Yeah,
We better
yeah,
not kind of like overstay our welcome with the audiences as much as I can talk forever. Jamie, I've enjoyed it. Is there anything
yeah.
kind of like on the horizon? Any kind of insider access to anything last exit wise? Any
Ooh.
or even what the latest T-shirt is or anything like that?
There is. There are some nice things coming. I can't really say too much. One of the
Tease.
films that we've discussed tonight, we've got a potential design that might be on the way, which is absolutely bloody lovely. But I can't say too much more. We've got a Willy Wonka homage tee out today, which
I've
is
seen
just
that
come out.
on your socials. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Which is a little bit unusual for us because it's a quote from the movie
Yeah.
in the we are the makers of dreams, and I'm misquoting it. I'm so sorry, but it's yellow on purple, which is lovely. Yeah, February time is usually a time where we have a few sort of new designs that might be coming out, or rehashes of I say a reevaluation of a previous
Yeah.
design. That gives it a real disservice. Mike does put an awful lot of effort into like rethinking and giving something different when we put a design out, like the Slaughtered Lamb one from American Werewolf. I think we've had maybe 3 or 4 versions of that we've released, and each time he tweaks it, maybe takes something away but put something else in, and he really goes the extra mile when it comes to detail on it. But yeah, there's one that's coming out, and I can't say anything. Everyone's gonna bloody love it. They'll go mad for it.
Does he? Does it make that designs them then? Or is it a team or is it like?
So Mike is the head designer. We do have other people who kind of come in and help us out with some ideas, and we've got a lot of people who help us out behind the scenes, obviously with like talking to the various studios and things like that. Sometimes we're lucky enough that a studio or even a director will come to us and ask us to do something. Sometimes we've got designs which are absolutely killer, but we've not been able to get out. It is the way it is. But Mike is the brain and the eye behind the look and the feel of Last Exit, and then we have loads of amazing people who fold the t-shirts beautifully, who get the t-shirts out quickly to you. We've got a great staff at HQ, the lovely ladies of Last Exit, who have just as much care and detail in just the thing that you might take for granted, getting it folded up, put nicely in a bag, and to you quickly. We try and get it out the door and off to people as fast as we can.
I
So
don't think
yeah,
it's taken for granted. I'll say because like as an end customer, like the black bag that it comes in now, and I've seen it on people's social medias, like it's a thing. Even
yeah,
that's a thing. People are like,
yeah,
oh, when that parcel arrives, it's like
black bag,
it's a
yeah,
bundle of joy. And it's not missed on me certainly. You know that when you open the packaging, it's all very deliberate. That when you open it up, it's nicely presented. So I
yeah.
do think I think all that matters. Definitely
It
does.
does. It really does. The devil is in the details, and it's in the presentation and the care and the way that you communicate with your customers, because you want them to have a product that they're going to enjoy and they're going to cherish and enjoy showing off. But also, you want that to be delivered to them as best as you can. And if there is, as I say, a problem with it as well, you want to take care of that problem. You don't just want to turn around and go, "Well, I'm so sorry that that design's off center. You want us to do about it?" No, like give it back to us. Let's get you a new one out because that's not good
Sort
enough.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Awesome. So I meant to ask you that earlier, actually, and you kind of mentioned it there, but it must be pretty cool. There's a lot of celebs have ended up with the t-shirts, hasn't there been? Kind of
yeah,
celeb testimonials and stuff.
yeah. No, we've been really lucky. We've had some lovely interactions with people, and yeah, sometimes uh, it comes out of the blue. I can remember years and years ago now having a kind of conversation in the comments on a post on Dog Soldiers, and then Neil Marshall said, "When are you going to do one of my films as a T-shirt?" And you're like, "What?" And yeah, so that was lovely. We managed to get a ball rolling on that. I think he's taking care of his own merch now, to be fair to him, which is
uh,
nice. Because we do get a lot of people ask us for the Dog Soldiers tee to come back. But yeah, Sam Witwer from Battlestar Galactica was wearing a lot of our tees. Yeah,
I think
And
Darryl O'Brien. I'm sure I've seen Darryl O'Brien in them. He wears them, doesn't he?
yes, yeah, Dara Bryan.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Is Mark Kermode? Is he wore them?
Mark Commode's worn a few of them. I can see his face, but I can't think of his name. This is my life now. The closer you get to 50, the worse it is when you get put on the spot. Simon Pegg has been really
He's
great.
a legend, isn't he? He's good on
Yeah,
social media. Enjoy
right.
his Insta.
Nick Frost. There we go. That was the. How
Nick
can
Frost,
I?
yeah.
I mean, he was a sweetheart, and he wore our t-shirts on like a press tour. And we couldn't have wanted for more. It was amazing. And we did a t-shirt for Paul, and then we did a t-shirt for Cuban Fury as well. So that was a lovely, and thanks, Mr. Frost. Yeah, and we used to sort of do the conventions, and we get like a great deal of feedback from people who are coming to see us as well, and then sometimes we meet people. It's funny, we had we would sort of do the conventions, and me being such a nerd and being more fluent in nerd a little bit than maybe a lot of the other people, I would sort of be able to spot like cosplayers, and that's really cool and stuff like that. And Mike was like, he's like, he's not a convention person. I mean, he's like you get really excited and like pumped by all this. Like, yeah. It's like the stuff here to get excited about. And we had this lovely lady who came down to the stall to look at our t-shirts, and she was really sort of looking over them with a lot of care. And all right, you are the guys who make the American Werewolf t-shirt. My husband really wants one of these. She said, I'll try and sort of get him a bit later. And we're like, okay, don't think anything of it. And she come back again a little bit later on, and she was like looking over him. She said, yeah, he's he really wants to come down and get a t-shirt, but he's just so busy upstairs. I don't think he can make it. And Mike was like, who is your husband? And it was David Norton. It was the American Werewolf himself. So Mike was like, right, what sizes do you need?
Yeah.
Like went straight upstairs and met him, and he was lovely, absolutely lovely, and he signed a few t-shirts for us as well. And Mike came back and said, see, now you get it. That's what the convention thing is.
Yeah.
There's something for
I'm
everyone.
sure I've seen some of your like customers put stuff up as well. Like they've went to see an actor, they're wearing one of your t-shirts. They've also bought a spare, and then
Yes.
they've given the t-shirt to the.
Yeah.
Is Rutger Hauer not the late great Rutger Hauer? I'm sure someone gave him
There's a
one.
friend of ours called Paddy, who he was an absolute star. And Paddy's thing was he liked to get photographs with celebrities, and he was a big fan of ours. So we would often take a t-shirt along and give it to the celebrity. And he managed to give one to Rutger Hauer, which was amazing. Shout out to Paddy. Paddy's making a documentary about Harrison Ford called Finding Ford, by the way.
Is that Paddy? Right. I was on the website and I watched the trailer or the blog for it.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and that should be a good. Yeah, well, I think we're doing some sponsorship for Finding Ford as well. I think anyway, I'm going off on a massive tangent. No, that's a really nice thing to happen. To see, like, people come back, they'll come and they'll say, have you got a t-shirt for so and so? And say, yeah, we've got this t-shirt, and they'll buy it, and then they'll go and get their photo taken with whoever, and then they'll come back to us and show it, and that's just really. Look, you did it. You got, that's amazing. And you're wearing our t-shirt. Yeah, fantastic.
I've never been to a proper Comic Con. I've been to like local one local, not to diss on it, but it's it's not like a big festival one, like a Glasgow or a London or something like that. But I do fancy it. I wouldn't say that I was like, maybe not like Mike or that, where I'm like, I wouldn't say it's not my scene, but I don't think I'd be there cosplaying and whatnot. But I think I would enjoy it just kind of from from a distance. I'd like to be there, but I'm not. Yeah, I think I would definitely enjoy it.
It's an experience. Yeah, it's different. I mean, our experience of it is working one. So you do get a chance to like nip out and have a little wander around for maybe 20 minutes and then come back. And then usually you'll come back and find out there's like, a whole throng of people around the store, and you're just trying to help, kind of
Yeah.
like the t-shirts moved and stuff. But I think it gives you a unique perspective. I always enjoyed it. It was tiring, but in a really great way. And you do get to see all of nerddom and geekdom and people who have put years and thousands into cosplay, and people who have just kind of, without meaning to sound negative, cobbled something together, but it looks cool and they're enjoying themselves. And it's just that camaraderie and spirit is lovely. It is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll need to get myself down to one. Not cheap right enough though. The tickets for
No,
these things.
no, they are expensive. I would say, and I don't want to cast aspersions on the people who run them at all, because it's been tough. But I think they're taking their time to recover from COVID.
Mm,
Uh, I think there's a. I don't think there's a reticence, maybe, but there's not the numbers that there used to be.
right.
So I might be wrong, because I mean it's been a long time. We haven't done one since COVID, and we've sort of gone along as punters to a couple, and they've been a little bit smaller and smaller affairs. But hopefully that'll change, and then they'll just become flourish again. Maybe they are already. I haven't been in a few years, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, something definitely I'll check out in the future. It's interesting you mentioned Neil Marshall earlier, because a friend of mine, fellow YouTuber, Video Tasties, he just had Neil Marshall on his channel on Monday doing
yeah,
a live stream. So definitely
oh,
check it out.
yeah.
Yeah, he's a really nice. He seems like a really nice guy as well. Really down
He's
to earth.
a
Terrible
genuine.
Wi-Fi connection, but he's got. But he kept dropping out. but but he kept coming back. Bless him. So
Yeah,
that would have been his chance to say, I've done my bit. Wi-Fi's away. I'll catch you later. But
yeah,
he kept coming back. But even with the dropouts, it's interesting. There's some pretty cool little nuggets come out about like stuff he's made and the reasons behind it and whatnot. So I'll send you after the stream. In fact,
yeah,
I'll put a link in just in case anyone else is
yeah. That'd be
interested.
nice.
But yeah, it's definitely he seems pretty cool. But that's interesting. You're saying that you've actually had like filmmakers and stuff reach out to yous to say
Yeah, on
get one
occasion.
made.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, as a big Blade Runner fan, I'll tell you the story that I like to dine out on.
yeah,
Um,
go for it.
when we went
I'm ready.
to we went to London Film and Comic Con in 2019. It's the last one we did, and we found a really nice little hotel, which was quite close to the venue. So we were staying there, and I think it was a Saturday, and I came downstairs for breakfast, and I had with me a copy of Future Noir, Making of Blade Runner. It was a Paul Salmon book.
Right.
I'd recommend it enough. It's like the only book you'll ever need on Blade Runner. He really goes very, very deep into it. Lots of interviews, stuff like that. So I'm sat in reception waiting for the other members of the team to come down, and I'm reading an interview with Sean Young. And in the interview, she's saying about how it was like a tough time making the film. It was the first film that she made. She was young, and she was finding Harrison Ford intimidating and stuff like that. So I'm reading this book, and I look up, and there's Sean Young, and I like
And you
freak
thought
out.
you were dreaming or something?
Yeah, I'm like the last thing I want her to see is me reading this book and gawping at her. So I just put the book away and just kind of sit there, and that's that. So we went to the convention. We had a really great day. We came back, and we were going to meet up and go out for dinner. And went up to my room, freshened up, came back downstairs, and was kind of hanging around in reception, which is kind of where the bar area was. And she was there again, and just sort of kind of glanced over and sort of hello sort of thing. And I thought, well, I'm not going to hang around here. This is kind of awkward and weird, and whatever. So I went outside to sit down and wait for everyone. And she came outside as well and said, "Do you mind if I chat to you for a little bit?" And I was like, "No, of course not." And so we started having a really lovely chat, and it got to the point where I was like, "I need to go for dinner, but I'm talking to
But I'm
Sean Young."
speaking.
And eventually, like everybody else, kind of figured out where I was, and they came over as well, introduced her, and basically we spent the evening with Sean Young. We just
That's amazing.
sat and
So,
chatted.
why did you come over? I think she spied you with the book, do you think?
No, I
Before?
don't know. I mean, what she said to me, and bless her, she was. I have to say, she was lovely, but she did say one of the most American things to me I've ever heard. And I sat there, and she came out and she said that I seemed like somebody who had good energy. So make of that what you will. So
There
we
you
sort
go.
of sat, yeah. And I didn't, I didn't want to. I knew who she was, and I didn't want to talk about films and stuff because she's been doing that all day, But no, she was quite happy to chat. So we got quite a bit of info about the making of Blade Runner and 2049 and things like that, and what she did on it. And yeah, she was a hoot. She was a good laugh.
Was she
So that,
involved in 2049? I know that she's in it. Like, was she actually involved in it?
yeah, I think she shot, if memory serves, like a couple of days, possibly. I don't know if she was on set or if she was there just being shot for sort of reference for CGI or something like that. So she had some, it was minimal, but there
Some
was
input, yeah.
footage of her
I don't
used
think
for.
she's not casted. She's not credited, is she? I don't think.
I don't know. I'm not
I
sure.
don't think
Yeah,
she's. I remember reading. You never some of these stories you see online could just be clickbait crap. But I'm sure I've seen some where it's trying to sell the story that she wasn't happy that she wasn't
yeah.
involved, but you don't know how much of that's just completely fabricated just to get a click, and
That's
it's not actually the person's opinion at all.
it. Yeah,
Um,
and she's a figure who has some controversy attached to her at times as well.
yes,
But she was lovely. So yeah, that's that's something I'm going to dine out on for the rest of my life. I met somebody from Blade Runner. That was incredible.
absolutely. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think we could probably end on that little.
Yeah.
I think that's the natural place to stop. Then that little anecdote name drop.
Out on a high.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so folks, I hope you've enjoyed this little podcast episode. If you've been watching along on the actual video on YouTube, then awesome. Just give us a little, if you enjoyed it, show a bit of appreciation for Jamie and give us a wee like and subscribe if you want to see more cool people like Jamie. Maybe Jamie again, who knows, on the channel. But as I say, it's been a blast. Thanks very much for coming on, mate. I've thoroughly enjoyed speaking to you, and I'm sure anyone who's watched has enjoyed it as well. So thanks very much.
Thanks for having me on. It's been a real pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
I'm thrilled and relieved that you say that. But that's it. This is sorry. One last final plug. Not that it needs it, but of course, Jamie is here, kind of representing Last Exit to Nowhere. Big fan of them myself, as I said. I wear their gear on my channel quite a lot. So if you haven't heard of it, get over there. It's an excellent community. There'll be I'll put the links down there for everything. The website and the Facebook community and stuff. Should you want to get involved, but make sure you do. Else you'll be missing out. But that's it from us. Jamie, as I say, you've been a great guest, and
Thank you.
hopefully we can get you back on. And you're more than welcome
I'd
back
love
on
to.
ElectricGeek
Genuinely
anytime.
would. Yeah, thank you.
No worries, right? Okay, take it easy, folks. Jamie and I will
Cheerio.
catch you on the flip side. Cheerio. Bye bye.
Bye.